It's Tuesday, March 18. In the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness urges Jamaicans to stand firm against criminals. In business news, young entrepreneurs seek a seat at the table in discussions about a micro stock exchange. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Stuart Young engages UK government over visa restrictions. And in sports, West Indies vice captain Joshua Da Silva a star on the pitch. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is urging Jamaicans to stand firm against criminals and deny them any safe haven in their communities. Speaking in St. Elizabeth at the Run It and Middle Quarters Pipeline Project's commissioning, he commended the parish for its declining crime rate and encouraged residents to keep up the fight.
Prime Minister Holness praised St. Elizabeth's progress in crime reduction, noting that murders are down 80% compared to last year.
I was informed this morning that the parish continues to do very well from the last time I got an update, which was last month, that there is only one murder reported in the parish, and that you are tracking 80% behind where you were last year this time. And these are some amazing statistics. It goes to show that peace is achievable. Peace is possible.
He notes that the majority of Jamaicans are law-abiding citizens and called on them to unite in supporting law enforcement.
All of you are decent, law-abiding citizens, captured by a few troublemakers. And it is time that all the decent, law-abiding people of the country rise up in unison as one, support our police officers, and our police officers in turn must treat the people with respect, as we have seen here in the parish, and form a bond, an unbreakable bond that locks out the criminals.
Dr. Holness is urging residents to work with the police, share information, and push criminals out of their neighborhoods.
All of you to be wardens of this peace. What we have achieved in the parish can continue if all of you here commit to working with the police, to share information with the police, because you recognize that it is not in your interest to keep the very small number of troublemakers around you. Run them out of your community. Throw them out, push them out, and the police knows how to take care of them justly and appropriately.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness shared that the scope of the pipeline project includes the installation of 5 new pumps to boost water flow through a 24-inch pipeline to the Gutters pumping station. Dr. Holness explained that the water will be pumped over Spray Tree Hill and into Mandeville, ensuring a more reliable water supply for residents.
I believe these would be 24 inches in diameter, so they are this wide, and we will pump water from Pepper. That's where I spent most of my time as a youngster in the summer. And that water will be pumped up Spur Tree and go to a relief station, which will then pump further into central Manchester and northwest Manchester. A few months ago, well, a year ago,
The Jamaican Senate passed a landmark piece of legislation on Friday aimed at reducing bureaucratic obstacles in the country's public procurement system. The Public Procurement Amendment Bill received unanimous support in the upper house. In presenting the bill, Industry Minister Auburn Hill emphasized how the country's complex bureaucracy has been stifling growth.
Mr. President, the Procurement Act, which came into being in 2015, has proven to be a difficult piece of legislation to navigate in procuring products and services for government entities, even if in concept it was necessary. Many have complained quite bitterly, vociferously, publicly, and very often that it appears that the Procurement Act of 2015 seemed to have been based on the premise that all Jamaicans are not honest, while waving the banner of value for money and transparency.
Over the past 2 financial years, the government has struggled to utilize nearly $30 billion in capital expenditure, primarily due to difficulties in launching projects amid the complicated procurement process.
Many Jamaicans make the argument that this really quite draconian procurement process, draconian to their view, that was passed into law has been as much as an hindrance to the procurement and development process as it has been useful in securing value for money.
Even the opposition has voiced concerns over the issue, with leader of opposition business in the Senate, Peter Bunting, expressing support for the simplification of the procurement system.
The principle of reducing bureaucracy, the principle of encouraging competition, principle of improving transparency and oversight. And to help do that, we need to strengthen the e-procurement systems, where a lot of this becomes online and can facilitate much more rapid and transparent bidding processes. All these we have no problem with.
However, he stressed the importance of maintaining transparency and competitiveness throughout the process.
This is in the Memorandum of Objects and Reasons, was to introduce a concept of levels of competition in public procurement. And this is something I support 100%, not just in terms of administrative efficiency, but I think we also want to do it to level the playing field, promote competition, allow small and medium players to become medium and large players over time. Whereas if we have a system that is so prohibitive or so restrictive by whatever means, whether by regulation or by edict, that it is only the entrenched players in the system who can meet the requirement.
Jamaican employees at the World Bank will now be exempt from paying income tax. The Senate has passed amendments to the Bretton Woods Agreement Act, clearing up long-standing tax concerns for locally recruited staff. Danita Rodney has the details.
The legislation was piloted by Minister of Finance and Foreign Trade and Leader of Government Business in the Upper House, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. She explained that the Bretton Woods Agreement Act enforces the articles governing the IMF and the World Bank in domestic law.
Mr. President, by way of background, the Bretton Woods Agreement Act, that is a principal act, incorporates into domestic law the articles of agreement which govern the operation of the international multilateral arrangements to establish the International Monetary Fund and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, also known as the World Bank. Mr. President, the Bretton Woods Agreement Act has been the only instrument governing Jamaica's relationship with the bank since Jamaica became a member of the World Bank Group in 1963.
The move aligns Jamaica's tax policy with the 1993 Establishment Agreement between the government and the World Bank, which had created uncertainty regarding taxation. Senator Johnson-Smith says the amendment ensures fairness for local employees.
Mr. President, in 1993, the Jamaican government entered into an establishment agreement with the World Bank to operationalize its office in Kingston. The 1993 agreement, however, incorporated tax exemption provisions taken from the 1947 United Nations Convention on the Privileges and Immunities of Specialized Agencies, provisions which were not in our Act. This made the tax treatment of Jamaican nationals employed to the bank unclear, as the agreement was now in conflict with the Principal Act. So the bill before us seeks to resolve this matter, Mr. President, by amending the Bretton Woods Agreement Act to incorporate the tax exemption provisions included in the 1993 agreement.
According to Senator Johnson Smith, the change means that Jamaican executives, directors, and officials at the World Bank will no longer have income tax deducted.
Clause 2 provides that Clause 2A and B of the bill renumber Section 5 of the Principal Act to include a new subsection 2 and a new subsection 3, which provide respectively that no tax shall be levied on or in respect of salaries and emoluments paid by the bank to executives, directors, alternates, officials, or employees of the bank who are citizens of Jamaica, and that the tax exemption granted shall not apply to a person who is employed to the bank in a category that receives hourly wages, or a person who is employed to the bank in the category of a consultant or contractor.
The opposition also threw its support behind the bill, saying it brings much-needed clarity to taxation for World Bank staff in Jamaica. With this legislative update, the government ensures compliance with international agreements while strengthening Jamaica's role in global finance. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Living healthy includes taking care of your mental health. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. So how do you know whether or not you are in a good mental state? And how do you take care of your mental health? Let's learn how from the World Health Organization.
We are talking to Dr. Mark von Umeren. Welcome, Mark. Mark, tell us about this WHO report that says that mental health is a leading cause for disability. Explain that to us.
WHO does advanced calculations in coming up with a conclusion like that. And these calculations, they include a number of different sources of information. One of them is that for an individual, when they have a mental health condition such as depression, it's actually very impairing. So many workplaces, the leading cause for people not being at work for sickness leave is because of mental health conditions, although that's often not said. Similarly, these conditions are very common. In fact, they start off in the teenage years, in adolescent years, and largely they are untreated. Indeed, only less than 1 in 3 people around the world are getting mental health care.
So Mark, tell us, what can people do to keep themselves mentally healthy?
To stay mentally healthy, one can do a number of things. One of the things that one can do, and should do, is to stay physically active. That's important for health and physical health. Second thing that's very important to do is to avoid alcohol. Alcohol is often used by people to think that they would be mentally feeling better, but actually it makes mental health problems more complex and more difficult to overcome. Thirdly, one should do every day something that is either enjoyable or meaningful. If enjoyable, could be talking to a friend or go for a walk. And finally, one can practice stress management techniques such as mindfulness, which is increasingly popular and is evidence-based. If you develop a mental health problem and these tips are not enough, then it will be important to seek help, preferably from a health professional. But let's say there's no trusted health professional in your community, then at least talk to a trusted person in your community, maybe a friend or another person that you think is worth discussing with to get their to have them listen to you and perhaps get their feedback on how you can deal with your difficulties.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams. Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. National Water Commission Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager Delano Williams says the Commission is pledging to improve customer service. NWC receives approximately 50,000 customer interactions monthly, comprising both complaints and service requests, Williams said, identifying high bills, leaks, and supply disruptions as the most common concerns. He assured customers that the NWC has stringent verification procedures for high readings. Williams gave the pledge during an online discussion session on Tuesday, March 11, facilitated by the Office of Utilities Regulation to address water bills and service complaints. Customers experiencing billing anomalies or service disruptions are encouraged to contact the NWC at 888-225-5692 or visit its website for assistance. President of the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Jamaica, Cordell Williams Graham, tells RJR News that the members of the MSME sector must be given a seat on the new committee established to examine the feasibility of establishment of a micro stock exchange. It is anticipated that $10 to $50 million will be raised for each company listed on the micro stock exchange. Finance Minister Favour Williams, who announced the initiative last week, said the committee would comprise representatives of the Ministry of Finance, Jamaica Stock Exchange, Security Dealers Association, PSOJ, as well as a legal fraternity. For the trading period ending March 17, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road provider Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 8,759,229 units traded, representing 36.24% of market sales volume. Online education provider One-on-One Educational Services Limited with 2,574,595 units traded, representing 10.65% of market sales volume. Alternative energy provider Wigton Energy Limited with 2,311,967 units traded, represented 9.57% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On March 17, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $73.28 million purchased and US $58.05 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.42 per dollar selling the US at $157.47 and buying the US at $156.05. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders 73 cents per transaction, with selling at $110.03 and buying at $109.30. The British pound yielded Forex traders $2.64 in profit, with selling at $201.03 and buying at $198.39. For our credit report tip of the day, here's a few ways that bankruptcy can help you regain control of your financial life and position yourself for success over the next 7 years. First, debt discharge clears the slate. When you declare bankruptcy in Jamaica, a significant portion of your unsecured debt, such as personal loans, credit cards, and unpaid bills, may be discharged.
This means that you are no longer legally obligated to repay those debts, giving you a financial reset. Second, protection from creditors and lawsuits. Once you file for bankruptcy, an automatic stay is placed on your debts. This prevents creditors from harassing you, garnishing your wages, or taking legal action against you. It gives you breathing room for the opportunity to create a structured plan for rebuilding. And that was today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago's new Prime Minister, Stuart Young, says he has already engaged a UK government minister on the recent visa restrictions imposed on Trinidad and Tobago nationals. This follows a strong call from outgoing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who slammed the move as an unjust action and urged the UK to reconsider. Dr. Rowley also took the issue further, saying it underscores the need for Trinidad and Tobago to cut ties with the Privy Council. Sunil Lala has the story.
On Sunday evening, then Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley called on the government of the United Kingdom to review what he called an unjust action against the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
This treatment by the British government should let all of you know how they view us. And if you believe that they have come around to thinking that we are equals, you have another thought coming. Many of them still believe that we are substandard, we are inferior, and they should treat us as they want to treat us. Today I want to call on our friends in the United Kingdom to review that unjust action against the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
He was speaking at the PNM's special convention at Woodford Square in Port of Spain his last evening as Prime Minister, noting that it should be a sign for Trinidad and Tobago to move away from the Privy Council. He said TNT has been working with the UK to identify the ragamuffins who are leaving TNT to head to the UK seeking asylum.
And if they cooperate with us, they wouldn't have any refugee problem. But it is unfair. It is unjust. It is disgraceful that they will disregard our wider national interests, put a fee on us, and tell us, while you have to come to us to have our law lords tell you what is right and wrong, you have to pay for a visa to come and do that. Trinidad and Tobago must complete its independence and get to hell out of the Privy Council.
And speaking to reporters after being sworn in as Prime Minister on Monday morning, Prime Minister Stuart Young said progress has already been made.
We have already engaged the UK government with the people here. Also, at least one of their government ministers. I've already had a meeting with that government minister virtually. I've made certain requests, and yes, that is one of the areas I will fight for Trinidad and Tobago in every way possible to build a better Trinidad and Tobago from the strong foundation that we have.
Last week, British High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, John Dean, in a social media message, said the visa requirement for Trinidad and Tobago nationals headed to the United Kingdom was implemented from Wednesday, March 12th, in the wake of an uptick of TNT nationals seeking asylum in the United Kingdom. Sonolala, TTT News.
In St. Lucia, the Pierre administration is seeking to reassure the public amid concerns over U.S. relations and foreign policy demands. Government officials say they are treading carefully while awaiting official correspondence from the United States authorities on reported proposed travel restrictions affecting several countries worldwide.
A New York Times article indicated that St. Lucia has been placed on a draft list of nations categorized as yellow, which includes 22 countries that have 60 days to address perceived deficiencies or risk facing travel limitations. Government leader Philip J. Pierre addressed the matter at the pre-cabinet press briefing on Monday morning.
We've got no official notification as yet, We've made inquiries for our Washington office, and then they also have said to us that they have nothing official, so only what we have to go by is an article on a newspaper.
The Prime Minister noted that St. Lucia is actively seeking clarification from the United States regarding reports of potential travel restrictions. The U.S. State Department developed the list several weeks ago, but it may change before reaching the White House.
We must tread with caution in that regard. We must tread with caution. And this is why we have been deliberate in our statements. We are saying that we want dialogue. We want to continue dialogue with the U.S., and dialogue will continue, but we reserve the right to establish friendships with countries that we want to establish friendship with. That's our position. So we're not going to be reckless and make statements that we will not be able to substantiate. But I can tell you, we are very concerned about the Cuban issue, and secondly, we have not got any official notification on the issue regarding St. Lucia on the yellow list.
St. Lucia is not alone. St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, and Dominica are also included in the yellow category and are seeking clarification from the U.S. The New York Times suggested that issues leading to the categorization could include inadequate security practices for issuing passports or insufficient information sharing on travelers.
I do not want to engage in any kind of speculation or even give you opinions. You know, those issues are flammable. And when you light the match of opinion near those flammable issues, you know, it could be quite dangerous. And so I think we have to wait to see whether this is true, what exact concerns are expressed, and we are going to respond in a responsible fashion.
In sports, we begin with cricket. Best Motors Marching Patriots delivered a dominant performance to defeat Yorkshire club, securing one of 4 semi-final spots in the ongoing 2025 CPL TKR T20 Festival. Meanwhile, West Indies vice-captain Joshua De Silva guided Queen's Park Cricket Club to claim another semi-final berth. We have more in this story by Nasira Mohammed.
Best Motors Marching Patriots showcased their firepower with a commanding 95-run win over Yorkshire club. Opting to bat first, the Patriots piled on a mammoth 259 for 3 in 20 overs, led by explosive batting from Kadeem Aline, who smashed 76 of 39 deliveries, and Evan Lewis, who blazed 59 of just 26 deliveries. Christian Thurton added a rapid unbeaten 50 of 20 to propel the Patriots to one of the highest totals of the tournament. Yorkshire's bowlers had no answers, with captain Adrian Mohammed 2 for 39 being the lone wicket taker of note. Chasing an uphill target, Yorkshire club could only muster 164 for 7, despite a resilient 55 from Ethan Gibson. The Patriots' bowling attack was spearheaded by Ricky Jaipal, who starred with figures of 4 for 28, while Kashri Singh chipped in with 2 for 31 to wrap up a comprehensive win. In the first match of the day, Queen's Park Cricket Club eliminated defending champions Central Sports by 6 wickets to seal their semi-final spot from Group A. Central Sports posted 193 for 6, powered by Kamil Puran's quick-fire 80 of 47 deliveries, and supported by Jesse Bhutan 29 and Mikhail Govaya 25. Carrie Pear 2 for 32 and Filton Williams 2 for 34 starred with the ball for QPCC. In reply, QPCC cruised to 194 for 4 in 18.4 overs, led by captain Joshua De Silva's explosive unbeaten 102 of 53 deliveries, which included 13 fours and 4 sixes. Jid Gooley chipped in with 51, while Akil Hussain 30 not out, ensured a comfortable victory. The 4 teams confirmed for the semi-finals are Queen's Park Cricket Club, Best Motors Marching Patriots, FC Clark Road United, and Powergen Penal Sports Club.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.